Hi, my name is Pennix-Brown, and I am the Chief Curator over at Give It to the People. Now, we are a company that is here to really be a business service organization who supports entrepreneurial support organizations. So that includes your city, your county, your towns, your municipalities, colleges and universities, small business centers, CDFIs, and the like throughout the state. We've created a program that we would love for you to be able to take a look at because what we do is we really kind of look at the gaps. We look at building capacity for organizations. And so we have a brand new thing called Procure Your Palette. If you notice, it says creating contract opportunities through culinary creativity. Because what we've noticed is a lot of our opportunities are there, but people either don't know about them, don't know how to use them, or are not prepared. And we want to make sure that we can help that for our food and beverage businesses. So, a little bit about us. Myself and my husband started this company, and we are in our fourth year this year. We had another company prior to that called Lady Business that started in 2008. But we decided to put this company together because we used our strengths, which were mine is definitely gift to gab and also making sure that the training is done. And my husband is definitely the one who is the back office, making sure that bills are paid, making sure that emails are sent, taking care of the social media. And so we both do that in order to really help build capacities for organizations, but also for ourselves. Now, what we do that is unique in comparison to other companies is we do conferences across the state, and that includes retreats, that includes making sure that people have the technical assistance, the business training, and we do really great events, not just putting on the event, but making sure that people have an experience. So we figured that one way to let you know that was to show you exactly what we do. Boom. Okay, there you have it. Now, what you just witnessed were three separate events. The first one was our Black Biz Summit that we do every year, the first week, first Friday in August. And then the second one was an event that we did for North Carolina Central University for their Center for Entrepreneurship and Economic Development. And the third event that was there was one that we started this year called the Black Leaders Luncheon, which brought together Black leaders from across the state to be able to come and to be able to network together. But also we have speakers. Every event that we do, when it comes to these major ones, we make sure that there's always great food. And we notice that food is one of those things that helps to bring people together, not only just because we need to eat, right? But we believe that it's part of nourishing the relationship, part of nourishing your body, but also the communication is a lot easier when you have something to eat. And so in taking the levels up to that, we said, well, what can we do in order to make it better for businesses? So we started a business membership in January called the Give It, Get It Business Membership. And that particular membership, what happens is that any business can join. It is based on North Carolina, but we do have some people that have joined that are outside of the state. We share events, we share tips, and we share tools. And we consistently survey our members to see what we can do in order to help them to increase their bottom line, to increase their connectivity, and to focus on their marketing. And one of the things that we came across was, if you noticed in that second video, one of the things, we had cheesesteaks out there. Now you couldn't see the cheesesteaks, but they were wrapped in the foil. So there was a company there that was a food truck, and this was a husband and wife team. And that husband and wife team, the husband is running the food truck full time. The wife is there on nights and weekends when she can be there because she still has a full time job. And so we had a caterer cancel at the last minute because they got booked a little bit. The timing just didn't work out. And so I had to find a backup. So I had already tasted their food. I asked them what they available. They said yes. We went ahead and we went through the contract, how much they wanted, how many people we were going to have, all of the details. And then we were able to secure them for that event. Now, after the event was over, they told us that this was the best experience that they had had while running this food truck. And part of that was because they said they were able to come, cook the food, go bring it to us, set up. We also gave them, during that event, we gave them brand new headshots, and we also gave them a wonderful interview, which they can use to continue to market their business that was professionally done. Now, all of that they didn't know that they were getting it, but it was something that helped to increase their business acumen and also their reach, because then once people tasted the food, of course they wanted to book them. Of course they started following them. And so for me, that was like a very special moment, because I looked at the fact that that's something that we can do to affect people. We're always going to book with small businesses and people that are local in the community, if it's feasible. And so most of the time, 90% of the time, we definitely do that whenever we're doing our events. And the biggest thing was, it wasn't just about the events. It was about the experience that the business was able to have because of the connection. But that business was not Hub certified, was not MWBE certified, and was also not registered as a vendor with North Carolina Central University. So what does that mean? That means that their connection to me, to us, to give it to the people, is what led them to be able to get into the door to get that contract. Now, they told me that that day they were so happy that they were able to just not have to be on the food truck the whole day, where they could then go and actually sit somewhere else and eat and be humans on the weekend and actually spend the weekend as a husband and wife, because the funds that came from that one event were enough to cover the weekend where they didn't need to be on the food truck all day. And so for me, that was like the aha moment. And I said, well, look, we could do this for more people. So the biggest thing is, people just don't know what they don't know. And that's where we decided that we should put a program together in order to be able to help them. So we don't want to do everything for everybody. We can't be, a jack of all trades. But what we do know is great events. We know people that pay, and we know people that have great food. So in order for those things to merge, we said, let's do Procure Your Palette. So this is for our small businesses, which are going to be food and beverage based. When you're looking in the procurement system, you're just looking at a name. And oftentimes you pick the same people over and over again because the food is good. But guess what? There are so many people who need your dollars. There are so many people who might be one contract away from just deciding that they're going to close it up. And if we can then enhance the knowledge that, first of all, what procurement is, how it works, and register them with multiple places that are throughout the Triangle area, the Triad area, the Queen City area, throughout North Carolina, in whatever region they are, because it might be that this is at the coast. Wherever you decide, hey, we want to bring this program, we want to bring it to you. And our rural areas are not exempt to this, because the thing is, there's money all around that needs to be spent because you have a budget. But oftentimes what happens is, you either don't spend with one of the companies that's in procurement, or you may go to a local Jimmy John's or Panera or something else that's a chain that doesn't necessarily need your money in the same way that the small local business does. So if we're really doing our jobs, not just as, citizens, but also stewards of our dollars and investing in our businesses that are here, that are local, then this is what I suggest. So we're bridging that gap where we're saying, okay, you may not have the capacity to put a program together like this, but what we can do is run the cohort. We have plenty of great businesses that would love to be a part of something like this, and we would like to be able to offer it free for the businesses, so that that's not a barrier for them in order to get access to a program like this. And in order to do that, that's where we need the sponsorship to come in, which then covers the cost that we have, and then also allows them to be able to focus on what they do best, which is making the food and allowing you to taste it, so that now they're your choice the next time you go for procurement. So this is what we see. As a program overlord, overview, the biggest thing is, which way do we start? So this is dependent upon whichever way you feel like you want to start. But we feel like the best thing is send out an application, send out the stuff on social media. You send emails to everybody that's already in your system, and you allow them to understand that this program is there. Because even if they're in your procurement system, they might not be in a bunch of other ones. And what we want to do is we want to not only make sure that they are registered in the different procurement systems, we want to make sure that if there are certifications that they can get, we can help them walk through that. But more importantly, to have them fill out a capability statement that they may not have yet. And then the thing is, when you come to an event, which is going to be the Procure Your Palette, and you're doing the tasting portion, you know that they're registered in the system, and you also see their capability statement, which means you can go ahead and hire those people immediately. We know that you already have events. We know that there are plenty of things that go on, whether it's 10 people or 100 people or 1,000 people, where you could use some of these local businesses, but you just don't know them and they just don't know you. And they're also not necessarily in the position to know that if it's underneath a certain threshold, that it doesn't need to be bidded out. So we want to make sure that these things are a part of their clarity that they gain, and a part of just the system that helps them to be better businesses. So we said the first thing would be, let's go ahead and get them registered. Let's check and see what they need to do. Let's make sure that they have all of these capability statements. And then let's go ahead and do the event, which is the curated taste, right? And if you want to, and you're saying, well, listen, we want to make this a continuous thing, then we suggest to do this 4 times a year. The way that we're thinking about doing the cohort is to basically have 20 to 25 people in. If we did it 4 times a year, then that would give us a max of about 100 people. And I feel like, comfortable going up to 30 people, but we want to make sure that the biggest thing that you don't have time to do, in addition to just helping them manually walk through things, but the biggest thing that you may not have time to do is accountability. So a lot of times we'll have this do business with the city, do business with the county, and that's great. But it's giving them a list of things, and then they leave and they're not necessarily going to follow through, which means that they really can't make as much money as possible because they're just not in the system. So if you need a key to get into the house and they don't have the key, they're going to be standing on the front porch and they're going to be cold. Depending upon what time of year it is. They're not going to be in the house with the warm fire. So we want them to be in the house so that this way, while they're in the house, they can cook the food. All right. So for me, it's really like, listen, this is a natural alignment. We are well suited to do this. I've been doing training for over 12 years, specifically with the Small Business Center Network, but also with other colleges, universities, cities, and municipalities. We've put on humongous events with different cities and different towns, and colleges and universities as well. But doing this cohort means our concept is that probably within a 90-day time frame, we can affect them being able to get a contract, because somebody is going to need those services. But a lot of times the problem is that they don't have the marketing, they're not in the system, and they just don't know certain things. So our program outline is to say, let's do a 7 weeks, right? Now, one of the weeks is going to be kind of like a get prepared, get your stuff ready, your menu, and all of the rest of that. But we want to start out by evaluating, well, what certifications do they already have? Where are they already registered? And we want to try to get them registered in as many systems as possible. Also checking their website to make sure that they have the information on there. Developing the capability statement with them so that we can see exactly what they have, what they serve, who they've had for past clients, and that can also help them possibly develop a marketing kit. Once we get to week 3, we want to say we're definitely going to help them with the marketing for social media, help them to reach out so that this way they have emails and they have templates to be able to even solicit to people who are in the position to be able to hire them. Week 4, working on their pictures and their RFP, and we use AI to be able to help to streamline that process. And a lot of them may not necessarily use AI in that manner. They may not have even known that that was something that could happen, but we want to make sure that when they actually are in person, they can pitch their business to you, make it concise, make it easy to understand. And also, whenever you see that there's RFP or RFQ, help them to be able to have things that are easy to plug and play in order to be able to meet those needs. We also want to make sure that, just like our clients that we work with Lil's Cheesesteaks, that we give them a headshot and we give them a professional video, which will allow them to do a little bit of storytelling. that could make a big difference in why you choose a business. Now, ultimately, it's also how does that food taste? But we want to make sure that their image that's out there is definitely professional and that it's attracting the type of clientele that will keep them in business. So, week 6, we say, listen, that's a review, but they can ask questions and we can go over the menu and they will be preparing. And then week 7, we actually have the Procure Your Palette event, which means all of our procurement pros that are in the city, the state, the county that are close can come, taste the food, and then now you have that experience there. And of course, our job is to deliver the experience, make sure that you know who's in the room, and just check to make sure that you're having a really great time at the event so that the next time that you get ready to book somebody, hopefully you book one of the Procure Your Palette participants. Now, we have some outcomes. So for the procurement teams, what's in it for you, right? Like that's the thing that makes the most amount of sense. You'd be able to find more vendors, okay? You'd be able to also take this program and work with ecosystem partners. One thing that I know is that maybe you don't want to foot the whole bill. So maybe you said, well, listen, maybe we can work with the Chamber of Commerce, the CDFI. Maybe there's a bank that wants to come in and be a part sponsor. Maybe there's a college or a university. Either way is fine with us. What we're proposing for this time frame is that the fee would be 20,000, and that will help to cover all of the costs that are necessary with this. This will be able to help the event be free even for the procurement people that come in and that taste the food. And then the responsibility of paying for food that they're going to use to cook, that would be really the biggest expense that would be there for the attendees and the participants in the program. So for them, it's just, listen, you need to sample your food, and so you pay for that. They would be responsible for, all of that portion. However, everything else would be gratis to them. They wouldn't have to be stressed about that. And that would then allow them to be able to say, listen, I can invest this 7 weeks in this program. And I know that when I'm done, that it will then turn my business into something that can increase my revenue. And so this helps you also know the quality of people. You can kind of get to know them. And it strengthens your supplier network. So it's not just about, okay, well, I know that one business, but now 20 to 30 businesses here. And if you want, we can do the program in Spanish as well, but that would be separate from the English because we just don't want any language barriers to mess up anything. Because a lot of times, if you have people that speak both, that's fine. But if you have people that only speak one or the other language, then it can be really confusing. So we want to make sure that everybody gets the attention that they deserve, and we have the capacity to be able to do that. Another thing that we want to, offer them is we do have our business membership, so they could get a business membership for free. And if they post their events of where they're going to be on the site, we share them on social media. We also send out emails on a regular basis, which allow them to know about opportunities that are out there, grants, funding. And then also we do classes on a monthly basis so they can learn more about what is happening in business all throughout the state. Now, the opportunities for them are that they'll be certified, they'll be contract ready, they will have their capability statement done, they will have their foot in the door. That key, it will be in their hand and they'll be able to go into that house. And now they'll have a much better foundation. They know what they're good at, which is cooking their food, right? Or making their drinks. But now being able to say, I can go into a corporate setting, and yes, it's great for me to be in the food truck, or yes, it's great for me to cater, or yes, it's great for me to have a restaurant. But every restaurant has slow days, okay? Every food truck doesn't make money every day that they go out there. And every person that's out here that's saying, well, listen, I'll cater, sometimes they're sitting there waiting for people to come to them. This should then give a pipeline to where they are getting calls on a regular basis. And if you kind of look at it, we can kind of structure something where it's like, look at your budget to see really how many clients you need and what you need to be charging so that you can maximize your business. So this allows them to be able to participate in some in-person events, specifically for the Procure Your Palette, but then also the online promotions as well. Now, this is how the day will run. So if this is the day of the event, what's going to happen is the Procure Your Palette participants, right? They will come, they will cook off-site wherever their kitchen is at because they'd already be registered somewhere, and they'd already be having that as a possibility for them to be able to cook and everything. They will bring their food, they will set up. Then you, the procurement people, you come on in, right? And you get to just walk around and taste from all of the different exhibitors. Again, When you get to each person's station, they will already have their capability statement there, business cards, all of the rest of that, so that you know you're dealing with reputable businesses. And then guess what? You take the next step by booking them so that they actually get the funding that they need to continue to run their business. So, in a perfect world, you do at least one big event a year, but you might do 10 small events. That can mean the world for somebody who has a small business. And we want them to be, front of mind when it comes time for you to make that booking. So I hope you've enjoyed this presentation today. And now it's time for us to just get to work. This is an opportunity for us to take one business from doing one thing really well, but now being able to make it work for even more people. And so this right here is one of our scenes from one of our clients, Indulge Catering. They were doing catering for years. They've won plenty of awards, but now they've shifted over to private chef. And not only that, not only private chef, they'll also come in and do things that are specific for your group. So if you have a small group and you need to be more impressive and you want something that is more cultured, something that is more specifically customized, that can happen as well. But if you didn't know about them, this would just be something that other people would know. But now you want to be impressive because now you have that connection. So I hope that that's something that will definitely help to sway you, to make you say yes, to make you see where you can get those partners in, and we can start to work as soon as possible. Now, another segment of this, I'm just going to show you something that we're going to be doing with Durham, is we are partnering with Downtown Durham Inc. in order to be able to do a Black Biz Month, because we do our Black Business Summit in August, and this year we decided to expand it. So we could do something like this with your downtown as well, where we're going to focus on the Black owned businesses, but it could be downtown. We're just going to focus on local business. It doesn't need to be one specific area. It could be women owned businesses. It could be minority owned businesses. It could just be small businesses that are open. And we want to now bring in more economic development into the city, into the town, into a specific area. And so we help to do that as well. So what we're doing is we're doing pop-ups at these locations. We're going to have a QR code and people will scan, and we're going to be able to see what the economic impact is when we're there on any particular day that we do the pop-up. And so just to have some idea, like a tentative schedule, this can give you an idea of like, okay, we're going to do certain events. And then what's happening with Durham is they have a gift card kind of program, which is called the Spendable, which is for the businesses that are located in downtown Durham. So people that come and that win, whether they are participating on social media or they physically come to the pop-up, then they have the opportunity to win some of that money that they spent back. And so we're going to give a $100 gift card for each week in August for our online people. And then we'll also have $25 gift cards for our people that come out in person. And the goal is community. The goal is spending with the small business. The goal is making sure that if it's a slow day for them, we can economically impact them. Now, let me just tell you this. We just did one at the Durham Hotel, and we were able to economically impact around $700 in the time frame of 5:30 to 8 p.m. Now, I'm not saying $700 is a whole humongous amount, but I am saying that we looked to see if there were other people that were in there that night that were eating. And based on what we saw from 5:30 to 7 o'clock, there were probably no more than about 5 people in there. They wouldn't have made as much if we had not made sure that people came out, that people were networking, and that people also spent money, because that was one of the requirements for the people to come and attend. I know that this could be another progression after people have their certification and after we do the taste. We can do pop-ups like this at locations that, are already there, that have, physical brick and mortars, but we could also do it at a location where, you choose, and that could be something where maybe the public comes in. Either way, I know that the plan that we have is definitely something with Procure Your Palette that can help to benefit your people in your local area. in your region. And now, if we keep those businesses in business, guess what they're going to do? Keep paying taxes. They're going to keep getting customers. They're going to keep growing. And that's all because you took the time to be able to support them in such a way. So I want to just say thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, I'm just going to go back. Feel free to send me any questions at the email. And you can also book a quick chat with me if you need to on Calendly /give it to the people. And let's work. Let's just take time to really make sure that we put this program into place. And we're ready to rock and roll over here at Give It to the People. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you always show up and show out and continue to give it to the people.